Hello everyone, this is Michael Kendra. You may know me as the webmaster of CivilWarTalk.com, and today I'm going to start a new podcasting series, something I've never done before, while I play the game Gettysburg, Scourge of War. We are right now getting ready to start a tutorial session with this game. I'm somewhat familiar with this game. I originally owned one of the Mad Minute games that was originally designed by Norb Timko, I think his name is, and he had his game through Activision called I think it was Take Command Bull Run. I had that like 10 years ago, and I've always wanted to try this Gettysburg Scourge of War, which is his latest version that he's put out himself. And if you go to their website, it says Scourge of War Gettysburg is a real-time 3D Civil War computer game developed by Norbsoft Dev, the company headed by renowned game designer Norb Timko, designer of Mad Minute Games, the acclaimed Take Command series. Scourge of War Gettysburg is the next generation of Civil War combat command simulations. This game is set up to be single player and multiplayer, and we're going to actually play single player for now as we start to learn how the game works. Now, I've only played this particular game once or twice, just the tutorials, just to get a little idea, see how similar it is to the original game I used to play. And it is actually very similar as far as the way commands are given. So, but I still need to learn some of the more advanced stuff, so we're going to continue with some tutorial stuff. So I'm going to start the game right now. You can see it takes you straight to the battlefield, and looks like I'll be commanding Confederate troops today. So we're going to back off here a little bit and take a look and see what's going on. And I'm getting a message right now from headquarters. General Early, I guess that's the character I'll be playing. Hold the enemy away from the road and drive them back if possible. The road must stay open for the rest of the army to come up. That's by Lieutenant General Ewell. Looks like there's no other information, so I'm going to close this message and back off a little more. Okay, so this is the fourth tutorial, so I've already gone through some basic tutorials just to see how things work. Here I'm going to be learning the basics of commanding an infantry division, so this should be a challenge. We've got 2 to 4 infantry brigades. In the Union Army, each corps has an attached artillery brigade. The Confederate Army has artillery attached to each infantry division, it says. We're just going to get into the game right now, and we'll talk a little bit more about why we're doing a podcast and what exactly it is we plan to have done here. Now, I like to play, when I play games like this, in a more defensive manner. I figure let the enemy come to me, I'll pick the ground of my choosing, so I think I'm going to work with that if I can. Is this artillery under my control? It looks like it is, and it looks like they're engaging immediately. That's great. We are going to command them to begin attacking infantry. We're going to actually grab this guy and tell him to attack infantry. That commands the whole battery to start attacking. And here we have targets at 473 yards. Right, I need to support these guys. So now I'm going to take my one of my divisions here, or my brigades here if I can. This looks like this is Brigadier General Hayes, his brigade, so we're actually going to move these guys up here to about here, and we're going to support that artillery. And since we're moving these guys up, we're going to move this. This is Brigadier General William Smith's brigade. We're going to move him up as well to about here. And we're going to tell these guys, actually let's tell these guys we want to go at double click. That's moves them along a bit quicker. And I'm going to do the same here. And so basically we're going to engage these Union regiments as quick as we can. And hopefully we'll be supporting artillery so we don't get them captured. But this is an interesting game. It allows you to control the Union and Confederate infantry and artillery, and if you have cavalry, you'll see cavalry. Let's see, cavalry or cavalry. I always get yelled at I say it wrong. I don't want to say it wrong today, perhaps. We'll get it right. Alright, so we're starting our engagement here. Looks like we're actually doing fairly decent. Grab these guys and tell them to move a bit. And I'm going to have these guys, I think, come over here. Hopefully they'll get there soon. So anyway, so while playing this game, I wanted to just talk to you a little bit about why I wanted to do a podcast, exactly what my my plans are here. What is these guys doing? Hold the form up. What are you guys doing? You're getting shot up. Alright, so anyway, now that I rescued those guys from doing whatever it was they were trying to do, and I'm trying to do the same thing here. But basically the plan here is to talk about the current events at Civil War Talk, and talk about the current events as pertaining to Civil War news and the battlefield news. I want to be able to go ahead and discuss with you the events of today and the last week, things like that. Like for instance, there's lots of news about the Civil War Trust right now, because they're going to go ahead and try to purchase Robert E. Lee's headquarters at the Gettysburg Battlefield, also known as the Thompson House. And, you know, it's important information to talk about, and just lots of people have lots of opinions about whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. Most people in our, that would visit my website, I should say, definitely have a positive outlook and thought process about rescuing the house from being sold to a corporate developer, or possibly being, well, you know, run as a hotel for the next 50 years or however long. The house is definitely a prime piece of real estate that I'm sure another business would be happy to purchase and utilize. And Civil War Trust stepping in right now, it's a great thing, because, at least in my opinion, that piece of land being as part of the first day's battlefield, and the headquarters itself also being a very important part of history, and it's currently in private hands. If they can go ahead and, I guess some hand-to-hand combat going on here, but if they can go ahead and rescue that property, looks like we drove off the Union troops in that position. That's fantastic. Only problem is it looks like we're being flanked slightly by our own movements, but it looks like these guys, they're getting beat up, but they did a good job. I'm tempted to just make them charge here. I think I'm going to do that, because if I could drive off another regiment with one, if I could drive off 2 regiments with 1 regiment, and I might even capture somebody here. No, I didn't capture anybody. But if I can drive off 2 regiments with 1 regiment, that's a great play to be made. So anyway, getting back to General Lee's headquarters, I was hoping, you know, Civil War Talk is a major website now, and well, it looks like I drove off the Union troops again. Civil War Talk's a major website. I'd love to be able to go ahead and help the Civil War Trust by having members send their donations to the trust and help achieve their goal. If you go to the Civil War Trust's website, I have a bunch of information I've copied down here in my iPad. I'm going to pull up right now. But the purchase cost of the property, including the hotel, the headquarters museum, that's the way it's currently being used, and also the restaurant that's on the property, is $5.5 million. And so the Civil War Trust has gotten lots of actually corporate donations from large donors, major donors, and they're also applying for a grant for up to $1.5 million from from the American Battlefield Protection Program, which is an agency within the National Park Service, and they expect to get that grant because that's such an important piece of property. But the trust is still short by $1.1 million, and they need to raise that money by the end of this year, 2014. And so I'd be really happy to have Civil War Talk members, as well as other members or other people around the internet, if they find our podcast or our website and learn about the plight of this headquarters location, to help donate and raise that money. Recently, other donation or funding efforts have sometimes failed. The Civil War Trust has had a lot more luck than some of the corporate attempts at raising funds. Like there was the Kickstarter for Two Appomattox, the television miniseries, or whatever form that ends up taking. But their Kickstarter goal wasn't even close to being met, and well, $1.2 million is a heck of a lot larger goal than the one they originally set. So, although I think it's much more attainable because it's the trust, and because we know they're going to put every penny they get into the effort, and because they have a great track record as well of getting this stuff done, I think we can say that it would be a safe bet that this will be accomplished by the end of the year. But still, they need support. They need help from as many people as they can get. So I actually contacted the Civil War Trust about a week ago, and I got an initial response telling them that Civil War Talk as a community, and me as the leader representative of the community, would definitely like to do something to help the trust. And I was forwarded to some tech support people who, in the week span or so that it's been, have not yet responded. I've also followed up with an additional email detailing my thoughts about how Civil War Talk could help. I'd actually like to use this podcast as a driver to facilitate daily donations or weekly donations to the trust. I'd like to be able to, as a community, keep a tally of how many dollars we as a group have been able to commit to be donated to the trust, and hopefully that would inspire more people to go ahead and donate and give the trust as much backing as possible. I don't know what I just did. Well, that's part of the fun of playing games and talking at the same time. But apparently I've moved on the battlefield to another location by clicking on that arrow button. But that's okay. It looks like things have gone fairly well for myself here. A lot of infantry units have been driven off. My artillery back here is quite safe and happy and banging away. But this is only a tutorial, so I don't know that the enemy Union troops have quite the teeth of a normal enemy formation. I think they're probably more demoralized than average troops in a real scenario would be. So I think I'm defeating them quite easily. But anyway, so as far as this game goes, I like playing the game so far. I really enjoyed playing the first tutorials, and I'm going to have to learn how to concentrate on playing the game and talking at the same time. So hopefully I don't sound too much like a bumbling idiot, which I would prefer not to do. I also would like to not lose command of my troops here. I don't know why some troops are just going wherever they feel like going, but that's part of the fun of this game. And I guess it's actually fairly realistic because back during the Battle of Gettysburg, I'm sure there were units that just wandered off and went places that their commanding generals didn't expect. And see, looks like I'm being flanked here. I need to grab somebody. Have anybody in reserve back here? Looks like I've committed every troop I have access to. Oh, maybe not, maybe not. You guys, I want you out here. And I want you to move it double quick and go. And I want you to go. I want you to plug this hole. And go. So thankfully I had some reserve troops back here that I hadn't touched. My artillery's in kind of an odd spot, but I'm going to let that be. looks like these gentlemen are getting resupplied by the wagon, which is another important piece of equipment. I'm tempted to move the wagon up a little bit. Let's do that. Let's move him here. And let's get this guy. Let's get him moved up here. So that gets some of my troops moving again. So as far as this podcast goes and Civil War Talk, I'd like to do this, well, I guess to start, I'll probably do it weekly. And for the length of time, I haven't been paying any attention to how long this podcast has been going, but my target's pretty much around 20 to 30 minutes for the podcast. If that's not enough time to complete a battle, we'll just pause it and then come back to it another time, because I have the capability of saving the game in the middle. And then, we'll continue on the next day, and then if we have to, we'll start another battle after that. But I think it's fun to play this game, watch the battle unfold, see how capable I am of actually running a Civil War infantry division or a corps, whatever it happens to be. It's definitely an interesting simulation game. I don't think it will compare to reality very well, but you can also at the same time learn a lot about why flanking would be important, and why placing your artillery on the high ground, maybe with some cover, is important, why you need to have a lot of situational awareness on the battlefield. I have a limited field of view, but there's all kinds of things happening here. And it pays to turn your head left and right to see what's going on, because bad things can happen if you're not paying attention when it comes to a battle like this. But it's definitely, this is an interesting game. I'm really enjoying playing it, and I hope you're enjoying the video too. Now, I'm going to post obviously this video is going to be posted on YouTube, but I'm also going to post a copy of it on Civil War Talk, and if you can, I'd really like some comments about a couple different things. The idea of doing a donation drive with Civil War Trust, I'd like your opinions about that. If you have any ideas for the name of this podcast, because I'm a little bit stuck right this moment what I should call this podcast. So if you have any of those ideas, definitely send me some comments. Another thing you can go ahead and tell me about if you're interested in is what types of subjects you'd like to have covered. If you're interested in a particular topic that's a current topic that I can go ahead and talk about, feel free to post a comment about it. I am not an expert in Civil War history. Sometimes people just assume that I am because I run CivilWarTalk.com. I am a very studious student of the Civil War. I'm constantly learning new information, but I am by no means a scholar or an expert or any of those things. And I would definitely be happy to talk about any subject, but when you start getting into the order of battle and exactly things that happened, I know vaguely about a lot of stuff, enough to be dangerous, but I don't know the details of many things. So please understand that I may not be able to answer every question you might be able to pose, but I certainly would like the challenge of finding out what it is that you'd like to talk about or hear about. If it's current event stuff, I'll definitely discuss it. I'd like to discuss my participation in the North-South Skirmish Association during these podcasts. I usually participate with them about twice a month, depending on my schedule and the schedule of the events. Next weekend, I'm planning on going to what's called the Veterans Skirmish. And the North-South Skirmish Association, if you're not familiar with them, is a live-fire marksmanship competition in a Civil War style. That's a place where a number of men will get together and form a team. Generally, like a musket team would be an 8-man team. And we'd all get on the line as teams together, so there could be a couple hundred guys in the line at one time. And we'll shoot at different breakable targets at 50 and 100 yards, generally speaking. And whichever team, during a 5-minute event, can break all their targets the fastest will essentially win the event. And after a number of events, 5 or so, They'll tally all the scores together, and whoever's got the fastest time cumulatively will win the event and get medals. And so I participate with them frequently, and I'd like to discuss that. If you're interested in that, let me know in the comments. And anything else you can think of, I'm open to suggestions about this podcast and anything else you'd like to discuss. And hopefully I can do some timely, interesting things, like when there's an anniversary for, like, let's say, the Battle of Antietam, I'll try to fit in. This video game includes a number of different scenarios from different battles, not just Gettysburg. I believe Antietam is one of the places we have scenarios to choose from, and a number of others as well. I'm not intimately familiar with the game just yet, so I myself still have to learn. I think I remember seeing Brandy Station and Antietam as 2 battle scenarios, at least. I think there were 5 total. There may even be more. The battle I remember the best, though, right now is the Old Bull Runs, and they're not available, at least as far as I've seen so far. They haven't been ported over to this version of the game. Talking about the game a little more, there is supposedly a new game engine in development, so there may actually be a newer version of this game. If you really like what you've seen and you want to play this game yourself, this game is available for sale. I think if you search for Norb and Civil War Simulation, that was the first search I did when I wanted to look for this system, and I came up with Scourge of War, Gettysburg, and this is actually the anniversary edition, the 150th anniversary edition, where it gives you the additional battles in addition. They're kind of like add-ons. So you can go ahead and purchase this software yourself. I think it's on special right now for about $50, $49.95 is what I paid, but I think it's normally $79.95. So hopefully that sale is still going. I know they said that it was going to be for a limited time, and they started, I think, on June 20th or something like that with this sale. It could be ending tonight, it could be ending tomorrow, or maybe later this week. So if you're really interested in this game and you love what you're seeing and you want to play it yourself, you're going to need a fairly spiffy computer. That's the best word I can use. They say you want to have a separate graphics card from your motherboard, one that has extra memory. When you get a typical computer, like a desktop or a laptop computer, you get memory in the computer, but you don't also get memory on the graphics card. So I actually have a special computer here, a gaming computer that has additional memory. So not everyone can buy this game, so please don't assume that you can just because I'm playing it, that anybody could. But if you have the right equipment and you like to play games, this would be a great game to try, because it's definitely fun to move your regiments around and your artillery around. There's also cavalry, but we haven't actually touched on that today in this tutorial. They don't give you any, and I haven't seen any actually from the Union side either. But definitely something to consider if you're interested in simulation games and you have a computer that's capable of playing this game. By all means, I recommend it, because I remember the old game and I love the old game, and this game is seemingly just as good, possibly a little bit more involved than the previous game. It looks like there's a lot more features and options, and I love, if you zoom in and look, if you look at the skins of these soldiers, you can see there's lots of variation between the different soldiers. The skins are great on here. I mean, I know it's probably not 2014 as far as the graphics clarity. It looks kind of pixely and stuff like that, but you know, if you can get past that, I'm not the type of gamer that needs to have photorealistic gaming in order to enjoy it. Some people I know, you know, they say I have an HD monitor and I have a giant, 24-inch screen, and I want to see everything in photo clarity. But for me, it's about the gameplay and the fun in the scenario, and you could actually view this kind of like it's a big puzzle. How to go ahead and maneuver your units to defeat the enemy units, and for me, that's the part that I really enjoy with games like this. Hopefully, I haven't played games like this in years and years and years. Having a family and kids will do that to you. but I'm setting aside some time now to do these podcasts, so I'll be able to get into some of these games. Anyway, I'm going to wrap things up for right now. Looks like I've routed most of the Union troops away, and I'm mopping up the few units that are left. I'll probably be driving off some artillery in a moment. But leave me some comments. Let me know how things turned out. If you enjoyed the video, if you hated the video, I'll take all kinds of criticism, positive or negative, because that'll only make me better at what I'm doing. And hopefully I can continue this series for a long time. Talk to you later. Take care and be safe.